This video is about the questions from several friends regarding the interpretation of Henry Oliver's second act. Below are our responses, for reference only. Question 1. I'm a programmer working at an internet company. Ever since I graduated and started working, I often hear my colleagues wondering when they will achieve financial freedom. Recently, I listened to an interview with Director Fang Li on Silicon Valley 101. He sold his house to fund his film and said that houses and money are the cheapest things. The rarest are your ideas, your life, and your hard work. This made me wonder. Is financial freedom actually a shackle imposed by capitalism? Director Fang also shared a belief. Live emotionally, think rationally. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Response. Financial freedom is not a shackle imposed by capitalism. If we go by the common understanding that financial freedom means saving enough money so you never have to work again, then that idea is actually the opposite of the capitalist spirit. It undermines capitalism. Capitalism hopes that no matter how much money you make, you'll never feel satisfied. It wants you to either spend or invest your money, not hoard it. Keynes once said that, for the economy to grow, it depends on the animal spirits of capitalists. The restlessness that drives them to risk their money instead of letting it sit idle. If you look at those who have made a fortune, they are rarely concerned with calculating how much money they need to achieve financial freedom in a particular city. Instead, they actively keep pushing forward, maintaining their relevance in society. Counting your salary every day, and plotting how many years until you can buy a few apartments in Hangzhou for passive income. That's not capitalist thinking. It's smallholder thinking. In ancient China under the Qin system, there was no place for entrepreneurs. The wealthy, afraid of challenging the authorities by expanding their businesses, would retreat to their hometowns to buy land and watch their children study, calling it financial freedom as a way to justify it. However, we also see that many children of successful entrepreneurs lack the ability to create wealth themselves, often living off trusts left by their parents. Ultimately, wealth means very different things to different people. Imagine being asked to find a unicorn in the Taklamakan desert. It would be extremely difficult because the desert is vast and no one has ever seen a unicorn. But if you stand in a bustling city, looking at the crowds, traffic, and office buildings, you'll realize that money is not rare at all. It's something that's relatively easy to come by. There's a US television show called Undercover Billionaire. Each season, a successful entrepreneur is invited to go incognito. They are given only $100 in startup funds and are not allowed to use any of their existing contacts. Dropped into an unfamiliar city, they are challenged to build a company valued at $1 million within 90 days. In Season 1, the entrepreneur managed to start a restaurant with pretty good business, but the final valuation was only $750,000, and he accepted a $100 penalty for failing the challenge. In Season 2, the entrepreneur went to Colorado and opened an advertising agency. He hired several employees, signed over $500,000 in contracts, and eventually built a company valued at over $5 million. Crucially, none of the people involved, including the two independent valuators, knew it was a TV show. While not a scientific experiment, this show demonstrates to some extent that making money is a reliable skill. For those who possess this skill, the amount currently in their bank account isn't that important. What matters, as Director Fang Li said, is your ideas, your life, and your hard work. Rational thinking is about mastering and respecting the methodology of making money, while emotional living requires that restless, risk-taking animal spirit. However, those without this skill may not agree. Allowing individuals to turn ideas into money is one of the greatest dividends of the modern world. In fact, the ideas that can make money are not secret. No one is forbidden from learning them. But, indeed, it comes with real challenges. Question 2. Regarding choosing your environment, I'm currently facing a problem. My personal abilities seem to have reached their limit in terms of the connections I can make. The circles I'm involved in are highly overlapping. I want to network upward, but I can't seem to break through. I am very aware that there is always someone better out there. I want to meet sharper minds and try to bring some of my ideas to life. However, the path to climbing higher is hard to find and seems gated. Do you have any strategies that could help me expand? Response. The most crucial mindset shift is to develop supply-side thinking. The question is not what you need, but what you can offer. If you want to join a new circle, you should ask yourself what you can provide. What you have that they don't. Getting into college depends purely on exam scores, but applying for jobs, seeking collaborations, and entering new networks are often about what value you can bring. You can self-learn a new skill, upload a project, or build your own IP. You must find a way to establish some form of unique value. Question 3. Regarding, for new insights about age, is the ability to transfer knowledge, by analogy, something that can be cultivated? Response. The essence of transferring knowledge, by analogy, is pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is the most fundamental capability of AI, and the core way to train it is through volume. That is, exposure to a large amount of material. To quickly recognize which move to make in a given situation, you need to have experienced or studied many matches. When you've seen enough paintings, you naturally start to recognize different styles. The fastest method is supervised learning. Training yourself with materials where the answers are already known. Once you have a certain level of thinking ability, the way to accelerate your learning is to deeply understand the fundamental principles. For example, when learning about the prisoner's dilemma, you should strip away the external stories and extract the abstract model. Then rewrap this model in completely different stories. And finally consider all the variations of the model. Extracting a model from a story is essentially a form of thinking used in physics. Doing some training in this area can also be very beneficial. Question 4. Regarding, everyone has a talent, honestly, finding one's innate talent itself feels incredibly difficult. Is there any methodology for it? Response. The most fundamental way to find your talent is to ask. Is there something that feels laborious to most people, but that you can do effortlessly? And do it well? For example, many people feel intimidated by mathematical formulas, but you understand them immediately. Many people get nervous speaking on stage, but you feel more energized the bigger the audience. Many people can't even pull themselves up on a horizontal bar, but you manage to figure out how to do a front flip without even being taught. Such talents are hard to hide. Sometimes you might not notice them yourself, but the people around you often do. You could even ask them directly what they think your natural talents are. If everyday activities haven't yet revealed your talents, you need to try more new things. That's why children from wealthy families are more likely to discover their gifts. They have the resources to participate in a wide range of activities. Imagine a child who is naturally gifted at tennis, but never had the chance to pick up a racket. What a loss that would be. If you still can't find an area where you are naturally skilled, then ask yourself, what do you most enjoy doing? Is there an activity that most people find tiring or tedious, but you find yourself completely absorbed in, even easily entering a state of flow? Maybe your starting level isn't particularly high, but because you love it, you're willing to persist in training. That too is a form of talent. With deliberate practice, you can become an expert. One important point. Pure passion isn't enough. What you must love is the process of action that produces value, not just the outcome. And this kind of process is usually not something most people love. If you say you love acting alongside beautiful actresses, sorry, that's not called a talent. That's just human nature. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.